Dallas Cowboys fans, Cowboy Nation. It's now official. Dan Quinn is no longer the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys because the Washington Commanders have hired him as their new head coach. Also, it's reports right now. We don't really know how much of this stuff is actually valid, but it's in reports right now that it's believed the secondary coach for the Cowboys on this same staff is believed to possibly be the new defensive coordinator along with Dan Quinn, a guy with the same familiarity. Some of these things, I guess they know I guess they're on the same page. They pretty much know what the other is looking for. This to me is going to be a welcome change for Cowboys fans, obviously, because throughout the tenure of Dan Quinn, he's been here. We saw some major leaps, obviously. You saw the emergence of a player like like a Micah Parsons. You saw the Trayvon Diggs. You saw the I guess you want to say the ability that Dan Quinn has shown to be able to put some of these playmakers in position to be able to make these plays. But at the end of the day, sometimes I feel like Dan Quinn's biggest issues throughout his tenure with the Dallas Cowboys sometimes were that he just could not adjust when it seemed he was figured out. And I'm not going to blame him. Obviously, we can talk about the first couple appearances in the postseason against the San Francisco 49ers. The defense held up. The defense did their job. Dan Quinn called some masterful games. The offense just could not get it done. But what we just saw in this Green Bay Packers game, to me, it's completely unacceptable. It was calling for a change. And I was one of the people, of course, I believe that Mike McCarthy could have found himself on the way out. But we see that Dan Quinn is going to be the odd man out. Obviously, and it wasn't even like forced type decision because, again, the Cowboys have pretty much said they were speaking glowingly about Dan Quinn. He definitely will be welcomed back. But he is going to have an opportunity to be the new head coach for the Washington Commanders that we already saw. He took over that team, the Atlanta Falcons, took them to the Super Bowl. We do know the 28-3 debacle to the New England Patriots, but Dan Quinn did have some success as the Atlanta Falcons head coach. Again, some double-digit win seasons. We already know his rapport as a defensive coordinator of the Legion of Boom in Seattle, but to me, I'm going to say this is one of those type situations. Of course, there were injuries this year. You're losing Trayvon Diggs. You're losing Leighton Vander Esch. And some of these other issues. Now you're looking at Dan Quinn having to mix match and kind of throw some guys around and move them around a little bit. But we did see that at the same time was an issue because linebacker play is going to be very prevalent, and it's good for me to hear, especially I'm going to say, because Will McClay came over the last couple of days and said that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be focused very heavily on linebackers this offseason. I don't know if that means free agency, if that means the draft, anything like that. But Dan Quinn, to me, at certain points, I felt he got too cute, too pretty with some of the decision making when it comes to the approach. We can go to the Packers game real quick. Just about you were watching Micah Parsons in pass coverage. Dan Quinn, to me, sometimes is one of those guys that has a brilliant defensive mind, but sometimes he overthinks it himself. When keeping it simple is sometimes some of the better decisions you can make sometimes, especially when you have the athletes and the talented players, I'm going to say, we have on this defensive side of the ball as of right now. So I'm going to look in for a guy potentially. I think now you're kind of throwing around. I'm not sure if the Cowboys are very interested, but I would not be surprised. You're looking at a guy like Ron Rivera. Before he becomes the coach in Washington, obviously, he was a former defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. We're talking about those Chicago Bears teams that go to the Super Bowl with of course, your Rex Grossman led, but you have Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, some of these guys on the defensive side of the ball. Ron Rivera is very used to being able to play with some, I guess you want to say being played, but coaching some high-level defensive talent. So this is going to be very interesting. You still have guys like Mike Vrabel out there right now. And to me, obviously, Mike Vrabel is a guy that was formerly the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. We do know he is we're talking about just from being from that New England Patriots mindset. He's one of those players on those Super Bowl teams, the younger Tom Brady Super Bowl teams. Mike Vrabel, this is a guy I'm going to say potentially, if he's looking to just get himself back in the mix for future head coaching jobs, I would not be surprised you see us bringing a guy like Mike Vrabel. But I'm very curious to see what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do. Trayvon Diggs coming out already pretty much saying he's very interested in the Cowboys just been able to promote a guy like Al Harris, who is the cornerbacks coach. I'm not sure exactly what that means now because we do have to see guys' philosophies. But what I want to see from our next defensive coordinator for the Cowboys is just being able to be more disciplined and playing head up. That means I'm not really ready to see another defensive coordinator that's all about the stunts, all about. Of course, you have to do them here and there because again, you want to keep the offensive line, the opposing offensive line, all balanced. But I want to see some guys just be a defensive coordinator just pretty much lets these guys just go head up, one-on-one, and figure it out when it comes to our pass rush, because I feel like a lot of times we can help our run defense if it comes to just not letting guys get completely out of their lanes when it comes to these rushing lanes as a pass rusher. So the Cowboys are now going to find themselves in the mix of seeing what exactly is going to be brought in from the defensive coordinator position, and then now you're obviously looking for a secondary coach as well. So we will see exactly how this plays out, but I'm very curious to know what you guys think of yourselves, pretty much. Are you happy Dan Quinn is out? Were you willing to see Dan Quinn come back another year? Did you think he deserved another chance? I personally believe we had to make major changes. If we're not going to do it at the head coaching position, it's going to have to happen somehow on the defensive side of the ball, because we're not going to be able to see the Dallas Cowboys find themselves with the perfect positioning that they had against the Green Bay Packers and lay out a complete dud. And again, to me, a lot of those issues came from Dan Quinn just getting too cute and not trusting the talent and the ability that some of his guys that are actually out there have alone, without trying to do all the things with the bells and whistles. So the Dallas Cowboys, again, are going to be looking for a new defensive coordinator, because Dan Quinn is now the new head coach of the Washington Commanders, staying in the division. So we're going to see this guy a couple times. We'll see exactly how this plays out. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Like I said, once again, I appreciate you guys for all the support. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share, and a like. The likes are very important to this channel, because the likes essentially are the same thing as a share. You're going to be getting the videos out. The algorithms are going to be boosted up, so we're going to be able to spread the videos a little bit more. And I'm going to start ramping it up, because now obviously we're looking at the Senior Bowl is going on right now. And I feel like the Dallas Cowboys have many guys that are should be on their radar going into this draft. Of course, obviously, you know, the combine and all that stuff is going to be coming up fairly soon too. So the Dallas Cowboys are now in, I just want to say pretty much it's a wide open field for the Cowboys to make some decisions on the defensive side of the ball. And I just want to see us bring in the right guy, because enough for excuses, enough for what we can do, enough what we have the potential to do. I want to see it actually get done, and that's going to start with filling out the rest of this coaching staff, but more so now on the defensive side of the ball. Again, I appreciate you guys for all the support. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share. You guys are amazing, and enjoy the rest of your day.